On September 16, 1810, Mexico declared its independence from Spain. However, Mexico's war for independence continued for another 11 years, ending with the Treaty of Córdoba in August 1821. Mexico in the 1820s, up until the Mexican-American War in 1846, was divided into two provinces: Baja California, much of what Mexico is today, and Alta California, consisting of the land that we know today as California, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, parts of Colorado, and Wyoming. The colonization of Alta California was initiated by Spain with the creation of the Catholic mission system on the Pacific coast. The independent Mexican government did not really expand beyond the coast, but did start to issue land grants in the interior by the mid-1830s. It is at this time that people like Dr. John Marsh will obtain a Mexican land grant, and Swiss immigrant John Sutter will come to the Sacramento Valley to establish an agricultural trade colony in 1839, and will later get an almost 50,000 acre Mexican land grant named Nueva Helvetia in 1841. The Alta California government was sparse, and political rule did change over the years from 1821 until 1845, often at odds with Mexico City. Governor Juan Alvarado even tried to declare Alta California independent in 1836. Following the Mexican-American War and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo on February 2, 1848, Alta California became a United States territory, further colonizing the American West and forever changing the cultural landscape and the lives of indigenous groups, with increased migration to California during the gold rush. Here at Sutter's Fort State Historic Park, the site is set up to interpret how the fort looked prior to the gold rush when California was claimed by Mexico. John Sutter had become a Mexican citizen in 1840 to remain living here, and became a representative of the Mexican government for the Sacramento district of Alta California. With the hide and tallow trade being the primary economic driver of the fort in the 1840s and California as a whole at this time, the Vaquero Room here at Sutter's Fort is a key room that we interpret and discuss for events and school programs. Vaquero means one who tends to cattle, or cowboy. And they were the ones who tended to the over 10,000 head of cattle that were here in New Helvetia. For the indigenous people of the Central Valley of California, horsemanship and agriculture were further cultural adaptations necessary to survive in a drastically changing post-contact world. Some native Californian vaqueros were survivors of the mission system and used the knowledge that they acquired during their forced laboring to build new lives after their escape. Many of the vaqueros at Sutter's Fort learned their skills of tending to cattle from Mission San Jose. There are many elements of life today rooted in the culture of vaqueros and the California lifestyle, which was a mix of Spanish, indigenous, and African cultures. Fiestas and fandangos were common not only on the coast, but also here at Sutter's Fort in the 1840s. The origins of the present-day rodeo can even be traced back to the skillful demonstrations of vaqueros trying to show off their talents. I think it's really interesting to work at a historic site that flies a flag that really helps spark a conversation with visitors. After all, one of the most frequently asked questions we get here at Sutter's Fort is, what flag is that? It's the Mexican civil flag, also known as the Mexican merchant flag. There's no crest or eagle in the middle. The Mexican flag had subtle changes occurring at this time in the 1840s. Official Mexican flags would be raised at presidios, on the coast, and at the Capitol in Monterey. The fort, being on the outskirts of the Mexican government, would simply fly the Mexican civil flag.